Hello, everyone. I just said I'd come on and ask how you all are and have a chat with you about this crisis that's facing humanity. I think it's probably the worst thing that has ever happened apart from the two world wars that we had. I think this has disrupted the entire world and thrown everything upside down, and people are scared. They're all scared because they don't know. The young are not scared because they think this only affects old people. But uh, from recent figures coming out of Italy and Spain, we can see that it attacks all ages, all social strata, princes, prime ministers, everybody. For the first time, probably in human existence, we are all now equal. Nobody is any better than anybody else, and nobody is any worse than anyone else. And I think that's a good thing. So instead of looking at all of the negatives of coronavirus, I'd like to just touch on a few uh, positives. I know this is a horrendous time for everybody. I know that the death toll in Italy and in Spain is just incomprehensible at times. To lose almost 1,000 people in the space of 24 hours is, it really is incomprehensible. But when I look at the positives, in the same 24 hours, Italian medics and Italian doctors and nurses, who I think are living saints, to be honest with you, they are in the front line. More doctors have died than any other profession, and nurses. That says it all. They're putting their lives at risk every single day. And in the same 24-hour period when 1,000 people died, almost 1,000 people were healed and wheeled out of intensive care to the applause of a line of medics. And that gives me great hope. And I'd like to think that it would give you great hope as well, because, well, all we're really looking for is a bit of hope, aren't we? We're looking for something that makes sense in a world that's making no sense. And I feel sorry for the elderly and I feel sorry for the very young, because the kids are like, what's happening? Will we be okay? Are we all going to die? Kids are really black and white when it comes to stuff like that. So I think it behoves us all to talk to our children, our grandchildren, and without lying to them and saying, uh, yeah, it's going to be grand. It's not going to be grand. It's potentially going to get worse, but then it will get better. So maybe to talk to them in, without talking down to them, talk to them in their own simplistic wordings, and that's what helps them understand. Keep it short and sweet. So tell them, yeah, this is a terrible illness, but 9 times out of 10, everybody's going to be okay. They're going to be worried about their grandparents. They're going to be worried about their parents. So to comfort them and console them and tell them, yes, reassure them all the time, and l- create art. Do that. It's a great expression of creativity, and it helps them to distract them from the news broadcasts, which are, I've stopped looking at, really. They're so upsetting. I've stopped looking at them. I look at them at night time occasionally so that I can say a few prayers for all the bereaved and for all the victims. But other than that, I try to avoid them. I occupy my own time with as much as I can do. I think I have my apartment cleaner than it's ever been in its entire existence since I got it. Um, and I still need to work on some corners where I throw everything. But that's okay. I'll get to it. I've got all the time in the world. And that's the thing. You do have all the time in the world. because now that you're isolated and now that you're finding the time to be introspective, you look inside and you say, what is happening and who am I? Who am I in all of this? We're just a blue speck in the middle of a vast black space. And our little hopes and dreams and aspirations are like a tiny dot in the waves of creativity and creation. And if you look at it from that perspective, we seem insignificant, but we're not insignificant. We're very significant. And I think what makes us significant is what's happening in the world now. Apart from the pandemic, what's happening now is that people are contacting people. They're not doing what they did prior to the pandemic. We were all together buzzing around the earth, 7.7 billion of us, not even talking to each other, texting each other when you're in another room, instead of walking in and sitting down and saying, "How are you? Would you like a cup of tea? How's things?" We lost that. I think after this pandemic, everybody is going to take the opportunity to enjoy all those little things. I'd love nothing more now to be able to hug my grandchildren, my children, and say, "I love you." But I can't because I'm in 18-day isolation. I started way before as soon as I got a bit of a cough, I said, "That's it." And it's not a selfish thing. You might think this is selfish. You're staying away from everybody else, but it's not true. Don't allow yourself to think like that. You're staying away from everybody because you love them. That's the reason. You don't want to give them what you think you may have. I'd been on a film set the day before, and I was in contact with about 100 different cast and crew. I don't know which of them might have had anything. So I had to leave this film set. I was working on a Channel 4 pilot comedy, and it was really good. It was really a fantastic piece of writing from that wonderful writer, Frank Allen. And so I was enjoying that. But when I came home, I didn't feel well. I had two of the symptoms, kind of breathlessness, and I had a cough. So I decided, okay, and this was 18 days ago. I said, okay, I'm not going out that door. And difficult as it was for everybody who loves me and for everybody who is used to seeing me, I had to do it. So you have to do it. You have to do it for the people you love and not for yourself. Of course you'll benefit from it. So what? You won't see them for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, who knows? But you will see them, and you will hug them, and you will hold them, and you will never ever take anything for granted again. I think if coronavirus has taught us anything, if we are to learn anything from this, we should realize how much we mean to each other personally, in a physical sense, that we hug each other, that we hold each other, that we shake hands, that we take the time to talk to each other. I believe all of those beautiful things that we took for granted, and we did all take them for granted. There's no point saying we didn't. We did. Meeting your friend for coffee. I used to meet Frank regularly for coffee. Holding hands with my beautiful girlfriend Marion and walking around the world and just trying to help people in different situations, people who were marginalized. I took all that for granted. And I think there's a chastisement there for us all and from us all. It's not God. God is not doing this to hurt us. But maybe we will learn from this. Maybe we will turn to God, because a lot of people turned away from God because of the Catholic Church and what the Catholic Church did. Nobody is more harsh in criticism of the Catholic Church than me, believe me. I'm actually writing a screenplay at the minute to correct the imbalances of the Catholic Church. But I think, all in all, they're humans, and God was divine. If we pray to God, we ask Him to get us through this. I know He will. Rest assured that He will. Don't feel overly anxious, because you'll only add to the pain. Watch the news in, as briefly as you can. Take it in small doses. Don't get too anxious, and say a few prayers. And we'll get through this. Every single one of us that believes that we'll get through this will get through this. So let's pull together, stick together, and in our aloneness, we are together. We may be isolated, but we've never been more connected. I'm getting phone calls, I'm sure you are too, from people who have time on their hands now to give you the time that maybe they didn't have before this. Let's make time for our friends. Let's make time for our loved ones. And let's get through this together. God bless you all. Bye for now.